I have a very important and difficult question to ask you. Are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
If we were to sell our home, would you wait until spring?
No, I would not. I would not be waiting until spring.
Okay. And, you know, I think we've talked about it. There's a number of different factors that go into timing. But I guess my first question is, why do you think sellers want to wait until spring? The main reason.
Sure. I think that there is a perception. Now, every seller's unique, and there's several reasons we're going to cover here. But I would say the most common reason, or often a misconception, is that the market is very seasonal here, and you're going to have a better shot at selling in the spring. And as we look at some of these numbers, that may not be the case, right?
Yeah. And for most of this conversation, we'll have a graph available for you to take a peek at that will speak to some of the numbers, because it is kind of complicated and it does vary based on situation. In general, many home sellers are actually better off selling in what we consider the off season.
Yeah.
And why is that?
Well, I think it's strictly just less competition. So we still have people that are, well, let's take a look at really break it down more simply, just two types of buyers. So there's the year-round buyer that lives here and or is going to live here, right? So they're taking a job at the hospital, maybe the casino, wherever. They're taking a job and they're moving here, and that job might be starting November 1st. It might be starting in the spring, whenever it is, and they need a home and they need it now.
They need a home.
Yeah. And then the second is our resort buyers that are buying seasonally. So they could be using it during the winter time. So they're going to be shopping year round. And then most likely that resort buyer, though, is looking for a summertime home, and being in by that 4th of July is sort of like that magical date. And so certainly if they're going to do any paint, flooring, anything like that, they want to be purchasing now, and they have to book their rentals for next summer. So it gets a little complicated. People are making plans for next summer now.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I'm glad that you brought that up, because I do think the vacation home buyer is in October and November. They're more likely to make some of the trade-offs on their non-negotiables than they are during May, June, and July. So what you'll see in this graph is that teal line is the number of new listings coming off on the market. So you see it really ramp up starting in February, March, April, and then in May we have our biggest listing month of the year. That darker blue line is the number of homes that actually sell. So you for sure see the number of homes that actually sell go up, and it's in a bell curve, but you see the competition, the number of new listings that come on the market go way, way, way up. And the reason we would list our home now, we have a waterfront home on Crooked Lake, and we would still list it now if we were interested in selling, is that some homes do very well when there's less competition. So a lot of the really prime properties have already sold during peak season. Some of the homes that remain on the market have struggled a little bit, either because of price or condition. So a new listing that comes on the market or price drops or extends this time of year stands to do really well, because that buyer is looking to get set up for 2026.
You're really going to stand out. You come to market now, or even in the middle of the winter, you're really going to stand out. And as we've said before, you might not have all of the fanfare and the excitement of 10 people to open house, 2, 3, 4, 5 showings per week. You might not have that kind of activity, but the people that are coming to look at your home and the people that are looking online are serious buyers.
Yes, serious buyers. I would emphasize too, in the vacation market, we've had buyers that are looking for luxury waterfront. Also really hot is homes that could be rented. So a lot of vacation buyers want to subsidize their vacation property by being able to rent their home. When a home like that comes on the market, it doesn't matter the time of year. Those buyers are still watching the market. We've had some of those buyers in the market for years, waiting for the right one.
Yeah.
And if it comes on while they're back home in Naples or Texas or Atlanta or California, and their local realtor sees it, which we will, they're gonna figure out how to get here for a showing or make an offer.
For sure, yeah. I've had people fly in just to look at one property, they certainly get in their car and take a drive up from anywhere in the Midwest to look at a new listing. And so we have some techniques that we use on those listings as well that come to market, even if it starts as a private listing first, or maybe you're not listing your property until, say, February. One of those techniques is getting the photographs done now while the grass is still green. There's still some leaves on the tree this time of year, but there's also a couple other things that we can do as well to help a property in the off season get promoted properly.
Yeah, without a doubt. And promotion is really important. What we see again in the numbers is really interesting. There's 2 months where the number of listings sold are almost exactly equal to the number of listings that come on the market, and that's January and September. But the gap is really narrow in November. Only a few more homes list than sell, and sales are still really strong. And then December as well. In fact, December 2025 was the best month ever in the 25 years of Winslow Group real estate.
That's right.
And part of that was last September, we had a nice rate reduction, so that helped get buyers in the market. But we're having a really strong October. We expect November to be the same. And what I think is interesting about this year and is really important, if you're thinking at all about selling spring 2026, we've seen inventory build this year. We've seen inventory build 30% in luxury. We've seen inventory build 23% in all price points, across all price points in the northern Michigan market. So on top of that competition that's coming in March, April, and May, you also have an inventory that's built up. So if we've reached the top of the market, now really could be the best time to sell, to
That's
maximize
right.
price.
And so the second reason, I should say, or another reason why sellers often don't want to sell don't want to go to market, is they don't want to move during the winter time.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, I'll tell you about one transaction that we did. It's an anomaly. We can't promise we can do this for everybody, but we did have one sale last year that we went under contract, funded the sale, closed the deal in October or November, and the sellers didn't move until May.
Yeah.
And they didn't pay rent either. And that worked out for both buyer and seller because they allowed them to come in and start planning for some of the remodeling and things they wanted to do. But the sellers who were elderly didn't have to uproot their lives and move during the snowy season. That's unusual, but it is possible. The other thing I would say is we have people. So we have people who can help maintain your home if you're outside of the area and get it ready for showings. We have people that can help with moving if you're outside of the area. So there's no real need to go off the market just because you don't want to move in the winter. We can help make that painless for you.
Yeah. I mean, it really comes down to, we often talk about the importance of a net number in a transaction. And that's really what that can come down to. So either whether it's our people or you're hiring some independently or you're renting back for a short period, if the numbers make sense, it's almost, I don't know if it's the time value of money theory or what it is, but it almost always makes more sense to have money in your pocket today than it would at some point in the future. And so therefore, getting a property sold now could relieve some of the stresses and the worries about going to market in the spring. Nobody can predict the market. Maybe the market's going to be great. As I've said before, I think demand in northern Michigan is going to continue to be strong, whether it's in the fall, winter, or spring. It's going to continue to be strong. But this time of year, having little competition, if you can overcome the perceived hurdles of potentially moving in the wintertime, I think it's a real opportunity for sellers.
I agree. And the last point I would make on this is we talk about the pretty listing photos with the green leaves. And now is the time. If you want that, you got to give us a call. We can take the photos, even if you think you're not going to list until February or March. Things look a lot better right now than they do in February or March. But we'll say there's some homes that look amazing under a blanket of snow.
For sure.
And so that's going back to every situation is unique. Your real estate goals are unique. Your timing might be unique, and we can certainly consult through that. But I wanted to have like a real conversation about is the don't wait until spring realtors trying to, get some business in the off season, or do you really think it's beneficial for sellers to list in what's considered the off season? And we believe, we have a strong bias. If you're wanting to sell your home, you should be listed. And this time of year is a great time to list.
Yeah, so if you need any help exploring some of your options or the timing, any way to navigate through the different seasons of Northern Michigan and selling your property, even if you just want to have a conversation, DM us or reach out to the Winslow Group anytime.